Hey everybody, it's Christine up today for the Scrap Room, and I am using the Flavors of the Month kit and the Echo Park coffee themed page kit. So as a huge fan of coffee, this one just was calling out to me. But that said, it's got a lot of really beautiful elements. So if you are not a coffee person, don't let that deter you from this kit because it does not have to be about coffee. As you can see, I'm using this gorgeous shiplap looking background paper, nothing to do with coffee. And I'm going to do a black and white picture of myself, and I'm actually going to talk about some of my favorite local coffee shops on this page. One of the good things that has come out of 2020 in the pandemic is that our local coffee shops all pretty much stayed open. And so since everything else was closed, that became a place that we really went. Several of them became places that we really went, and we would do to-go orders and pick up coffees, and it kind of became a thing, a little coffee date with my husband on a regular basis. So I thought this was a perfect time to really document that story. So yes, I have added that cut apart card up there for kind of a long title. But then I played with all those beautiful flowers, and I just fussy cut a whole bunch of them, not knowing how many I was going to use. And I really liked the way that they looked when I put them down as a border underneath my picture. So I went ahead and added those underneath my picture, and I varied what I did with them, both popping them up and putting some flat so that I would have some really good texture and dimension going on. And I'm kind of just shifting things around, seeing how they are going to land and where exactly I want them all to be. I do want to work in a little bit of this green patterned paper, so I am going to go ahead and put that on there, and then you will see the whole thing come together. Now, I really liked this paper as well, and you can see, again, no coffee theme on it, so totally workable for whatever your needs are if you aren't into coffee. What I'm doing right now is I am trimming out that brown border because I really want to bring some brown into the outside of my layout. So I do that by using both my trimmer, and then I just do the very end with some fine tip scissors. It's not foolproof and it doesn't always work perfectly, but it worked pretty well. And if it doesn't work great, you can always kind of distress the inside edges and cover up any errors that you make for sure. So now I'm going to kind of pull up the edges of this shiplap looking paper so that it has a little bit of distress going on. Again, this is just to kind of cover up any imperfections in my frame itself. And that just, it also adds texture and dimension and just kind of kills two birds with one stone, if you will. So I'm going to put that back on there and then begin to reassemble everything. Now, to provide some additional dimension, I am going to go ahead and pop up my picture using some crafty foam tape from Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. I did opt for a black and white picture for this because the original picture was, I was wearing black, and it didn't look good in color, and so I felt like black and white would be neutral enough to still be able to tell the story. So now that I have got that on, you can see that I'm going to start adding my flowers. And as I mentioned earlier, I am going to pop some up more than others. Others I'm going to tuck under flat. But you can see that I ran some crafty foam tape all the way across to start with a layer of dimension. And then some of those I will add a second layer of dimension, and so on and so forth, and throughout the layout, I'll kind of mix and match my dimensional levels here. But by running that crafty foam tape all the way across, it made it so I didn't have to individually put like a square on each one. So that was a good shortcut, if you will. And I've got that title piece now that I'm going to secure in there. You did see me earlier trim down the edges just a smidge, and that just, it was a little bit too bulky before, and so I trimmed it down a little bit with the thin lines of the shiplap and the flowers not being real bulky. It just felt like it needed to be sized down a smidge. I'm going to use a tiny bit of this floral border to create another place for some elements on my layout. So I'm going to use this and just trim it down and add it down there on the bottom right hand side. This part is going on flat. I am going to also add on some additional words, a piece of ephemera, and I will add that on. You can see that brings that brown border in really nicely and adds a third piece with that matting. So I've got my title area, I've got my picture, and I've got that. And so it kind of unifies that whole thing. It also is a third, and it's got the brown around all the way around the layout, around my picture, and the brown around that. So little elements like that just help to kind of bring everything together. So I will add some flowers up to the top of my title as well as above the original flowers that I put down. Those ones are all going to go on flat, and that's a mixture of both stickers and the fussy cut ones. And those are going flat because there's a lot of dimension already going on, and so that just helps to not make everything seem on the same level. It just provides the eye with something unique and different. So there you have it, a very fun layout flavors of the month kit from the Scrap Room. Be sure to head on over there and check out her kits for this month and see what other options she's got within the kit. There's 3 other page kits in this page kit, and of course, so much more available in add-on kits. We will see you again next time.